In today's video, we are going to talk about tokenization in Spacy. We can do tokenization in NLTK as well. We have discussed the pros and cons between these two libraries, and we decided we'll use Spacy for the reasons I mentioned in the last video. And if you remember our NLP pipeline video, we had this step called pre-processing. So in this entire NLP pipeline, we're going to begin with the pre-processing step. The data acquisition and text extraction and cleanup step is something we can maybe take a look at later, maybe in the end-to-end NLP project. But in pre-processing, what we learned was there is a step called sentence tokenization. When you have a paragraph of text, you first separate it out in sentences, and then each sentence you split it out into the words. So that's called word tokenization. So we are going to see how you can do both of these things in Spacy library. Also, there was stemming lemmatization. We'll cover stemming lemmatization in the later videos. But tokenization is a process of splitting the text into meaningful segments. So if it is sentence tokenization, we're talking about splitting paragraph into sentences, and if it's a word tokenization, we are talking about splitting sentence into words. And you will be like, what's the big deal with tokenization? You split the sentence by spaces and that's it, right? Why do we need any library? Well, consider this statement. If you are doing sentence tokenization for sentence tokenization, you might use dot. Dot means the sentence is ended. If you use that simple rule, here you will end up creating 3 sentences for a sentence which is just one sentence, okay? So you can't use simple rules for this tokenization. You need the language understanding. You need to define spatial rules. That dr dot is not the end of the statement. Also, if you have n dot y dot, it's not dot doesn't mean end of the statement. You need language specific rules here. So what we will do now is, if you are not installed already, just do pip install Spacy, and that will install the Spacy library on your computer. I already have it installed. To launch a Jupyter notebook, you can run Jupyter notebook command. And whatever directory you run that command in, it will show all the files there. So I have created this Spacy tokenization directory already. So you can create whatever directory you want and just say Python 3, right? So I'll just move everything else aside and I will do F11 to bring this in a full screen mode, and then I will import Spacy. So that will import the library. Then I will create a language object. So in Spacy, you can create language object in multiple ways. One way is you can just say spacy.blank en. En stands for English. Okay. Now that creates, so just simplistically think about NLP as an object which has English understanding. It understands English language a little bit. If you say DE, it will be for German language. Now, how do I know, like whether it's DE or EN? Like that's like magic. So you can say Spacy language models, and it will show you all the language models you have, right? So we will do something like this later on. This is more like a trained language pipeline, so don't worry about this. But see, English is EN, French is FR, German is DE, okay, Hindi is HI. So whatever language you are dealing with, first create the blank component. There is another way, which is creating a pre-trained like pipeline. We'll look into it in a later videos. So this is how you create a blank English language component, and then you will create a document. So document is equal to NLP something. Here you provide your text. So whatever text analysis you are doing, it could be a paragraph, it could be a multi-page document. You need to provide a text here. And the text I'm going to provide is Dr. Strange's visit in Mumbai. He loved Pav Bhaji so much. And I'm doing some text analysis on Dr. Strange's beautiful journey into Mumbai and Pav Bhaji. So when you do this, by default, what this will do is, by doing this, see, you can do for token in doc print token. And when you hit that, it has already done word tokenization. It is so easy, plain Python code, very intuitive to understand. And if I go back to my presentation, what it is doing in reality is this. So when I say Spacy dot blank, I created NLP component around the text that I had. By default, it gives you a tokenizer, word tokenizer. So when you feed text into it, you get doc document. Doc document already knows about tokens. So it has like token 1, token 2, token 3, and so on. I want to take a moment and talk about firstlanguage.in, which makes building NLP applications easier for you. You can perform various NLP tasks, which are shown here, via this platform. If you're using a Spacy type of library, you download it, you run your code locally. If you are training a heavy model, you need higher compute resources such as GPUs. Whereas here, everything is in cloud. You just make an HTTP call, things run on the cloud. You don't need a local machine with a lot of compute resources. There is a demo which you can see by clicking on this link, and I have bought this bulb recently, and you see there is a negative review on Amazon. And when I copy paste this here and I select text classification, and when I say submit, it immediately classifies that as negative. And if I have a positive review, I just copy paste it here, and if I submit it, it will classify this as a positive. See, it's pretty powerful. So it makes things much easier for you. You don't need to have like too much like detailed NLP knowledge. You can just call APIs and get things done quickly for yourself. The free tier is something you can try today. You can just sign in and you can get an API access. Once you sign in, if you go to dashboard, you will get your own API key, and you can use that API key to make the calls. They have SDKs available both in Python and TypeScript. Go check it out. The link is in video description below. And thanks firstlanguage.in for sponsoring this video. Okay. So that part I think is clear. Now these tokens, either you run a for loop, or if you like Python list style of index, you can do this also. You can do doc0 is dr, doc1 is strange, and so on. So you can use general like Python list like index operation to retrieve all these tokens. And you realize, see, if I have $2, the English model that we created, it understands that this is a currency. Therefore, it will split $2 and $, into 2 different tokens. So let's try this. If I do this hash, I think hash also is splitting it into different tokens. So it probably, okay. So it currency, the punctuation, it will split them into different tokens. If I was using just splitting by the words, then it won't be sufficient, correct? Because then it's not smart enough to detect the language. And let me explain the rules of the tokenization. So I got this image, not this image. I got this image, by the way, from Spacy documentation. So thanks for that. But let's say you have this sentence. Let's go to NY. The sentence has double quotes. Okay. So if I just use split by spaces, I will get these words. And these are not my true tokens. Okay. That's when Spacy's tokenizer come in place, and it will do some additional processing. Okay, what kind of processing? Well, this. It will first split by prefix. So any prefix you have, code, that's a separate token. So it will split. See, you green box, it just splits that as a separate token. It could be $, bracket. There are some characters it considers as prefixes, and it will split them. Then it looks at exceptions, such as let's see apostrophe s. That is also a separate token. And when you do that, when you do splitting into this kind of individual component, you will see in the later videos that this is very beneficial for doing the language analysis, for building the NLP application. Then you do suffix, right? The way we did prefix, there is a double quote at the end. So that's my suffix. Then you have one, okay, suffixes could be whatever, km is kilometer. It could be bracket, exclamation mark, quote, etc. Then another suffix would be the exclamation mark after ny. So it will split that. Then one more exception would be so the exception is split. Okay, so suffix was this and the exception was this. So now you split. Now your tokenization is complete. So if you feed this into Spacy's tokenizer, let's go to NY, you will get these kind of tokens. You want to try that, by the way? How about we try that? That would be nice. So instead of whatever Dr. Strange, I'll just do it at the top because I want my Dr. Strange to stay here. So I will say, let's go to NY. See, let's go to n.y. Explanation mark. See, and actually we need like single quote because I have double quote as part of the sentence itself. Okay, so there is single quote also, so I will use 3 quotes. Actually I will use 3 quotes, by the way. So you know, right, like 3 quotes is like a whole sentence, and since I have a single quote here, that's why I'm using this 3 quote. Anyways, but see, this is one token. See, double quote, let, then s, see, let and s, then go to ny. So it works. I just wanted to show you that I'm not bluffing. Okay, it works. And then we looked at the index operator. Now let's look at the type of these objects. See, NLP, I said, right, it's an object of English language. Similarly, if you do dog, that's an object of a dog. Come on, isn't that clear? Token is an object of token. There is a span object, by the way. So I have all these things, right? If I do dog, see, if I do dog 1, whatever, it gives me 1, a string. But if I do something like 1 to 5, you have studied this slice indexes in Python, correct? It gives you a slice. Similarly, in NLP also, sometimes you want a span. From a sentence, you want certain span. Span means a substring from that string. And this object is of type span. So if you do type span, and we will see in the later video how this is useful, you get an object of span. Okay, so let me just clean all this up. Let me come up with a different sentence. Okay, so Tony and Peter are friends. They have mentor-mentee relationship, and Tony gave $2 to Peter so that Peter can buy the car. Okay, just kidding. So token 0 is this, correct? And that token 0 would be what? Tony. Now this has certain attributes. So if you do dir in Python, general rule, if you do dir on any Python variable, you get all the methods and everything of that class. So my class of token 0 is token, correct? If you do type of token 0, it's an object of class token, and that class token has all these methods. See all this, see, is bracket, is currency, is digit, is stop. So let's try to use some of these methods. So I will first use token 0 dot is, and if you hit tab, it shows all the methods as a help. So I will say is alpha. So it says true because it is alphabetic, like it's a word basically, it's not a number. If I do is num, actually the method is like num, it says false. It's not a number, correct? But let's look at this. So 0, 1 and 2. Okay, so token 2 is equal to doc2. Let's first print, and by the way, you can use token 2 doc text also, that gives you the text. So this token 2 is the word 2. Now if you call this method, tell me what's gonna happen. Any guess? See, this is smart. It knows TW2 is a number. It is like a number, and it tells you that that is true. What is token 3? Okay, let's try token 3. Token 3 is that $sign, and luckily we have a method called is currency. It says is currency true. Now this can be pretty powerful. Okay, so I can show you a use case, but let me first print couple of just few of these attributes. So I'm running a for loop, I'm printing a token. Token has an index which is called .i. Is alpha is something we saw. Is punctuation, like number, like currency. See, for Tony it will say it's not like currency, it's not like number, but when you have dollar, it is saying it is currency, it is not a number. But when you have 2, it says like number is true. So these attributes can be pretty powerful in doing your text analysis. Now I'm going to quickly show you a file. So let me go here. So I am in my C code NLP tutorial series directory, which has a file called student.txt. Okay, what is there in this file? I'm curious. It has some student information. See, in my class I have some talented students. You know, they come to my class to learn Python. By the way, all these students, they are pretty good in Python. And let's say I'm a teacher and I have this text file of all the students, and let's say tomorrow is gonna snow, so I want to declare a holiday. So I want to send an email to all the students saying that tomorrow is holiday, hooray, enjoy. From this text file, I'm showing you a simple text file, but this text file can be very big. How do I extract all the emails? All I want to do is from this text file, I want to extract all the emails. I can use regex, regular expression. That is something we have seen before. But On this occasion, I find like Spacy can be even more convenient than regex. So let's try this. Let's first read this file in Python. So you all know how to read the file in Python. When you do f.read lines, it will read all the lines in a text file as a text, as an array. So text is an array of all the lines. You know what /n is, right? For the new line. Now, Spacy takes single text. So I will convert this array into a single big blurb of text. Okay. And the way to do that would be, so I'm separating everything by space and I'm saying this. So what this will do is, text is an array, right? List. It will join all the elements by list and it will use space as a delimiter. In between the list elements, when they join, it will use space in between. Great. So it's a one single sentence. Now I want to grab all the email IDs. So I will first create a document element from this text. And then I will say for token in doc, if token dot, if token is like email, then do something. I can print, but I don't want to print. I want to grab maybe all the emails in emails array, like a list. And the list has this method called append token dot text. And when I do that, I get the emails of all my obedient and intelligent students. This is one simple use case. You have other methods too, like URL, like number, so many other methods. Okay, so you can check all those in a Spacy documentation. How do I see Spacy documentation? Google is your friend. Spacy token attributes. Okay, so I think attributes, you can just Google and find it out. Okay, I don't know how to get to it, but you will find it out in some documentation. Spacy's documentation, by the way, is really good. I really like that. And see, they have given a very good article, by the way. I highly suggest you read the article. You will see this is the chart that I use in my presentation. Thanks, Spacy folks. You can do Spacy token attribute like number. See, these are all those tokens that we have. Okay, you have is alpha, you have all of those. Okay, correct. Now let's move on to the next agenda. Now we will try a model in a different language. So Hindi is the language of my country, India. So I will use Hindi. And the Hindi code we saw, right? It is HI. And I will create something. I will take some sentence in Hindi. By the way, you can type in like Hindi keyboard, and you can type it in Hindi even with your English keyboard. You can say कैसे हो भाई मेरे को नींद आ रही है. See, this is like, you can type it in Hindi and you can just say Control C and Control V. So similarly, I typed something and I'm doing Control C, Control V. Okay, he's saying like he's borrowed money from someone and he's asking to return them. And you will again do the same thing. You will just print all the tokens, and you see that it is printing all the tokens. Not only that, along with the token, you can print some of the attribute. Let's say is currency and token dot like number, right? So when you print that, see, for 5,000 currency is false but number is true. And for the rupee sign, this is a rupee sign. A rupee sign, it will say is currency. Yes, it is currency. So you take any language model, it is having knowledge of these basic rules. Now if you look at this documentation, there is this column called pipeline, and only few languages have these pipelines, but the other languages says none yet. See, Hindi says none yet. And what is that pipeline? We'll cover later. Okay. Let's move on to the new topic. So now, sometimes you want to customize your tokenizer. For example, you have a sentence like this, and you say for, and by the way, instead of doing for token in tokens print, I will try to grab everything in an array. So I will say tokens, you know list comprehension, right? So list comprehension is a easy way to write for loop. So instead of writing for token in tokens do something, I can move this thing here in a for loop, and whatever you want to do, you can put that thing here. So when you do that, you get all these tokens. Now you're not happy with the default behavior of Spacy here, because see, I use abbreviation. When you use slang and specific norms of any language, that's when you realize the need of customizing Spacy. So give me is actually two words. Give me. You want two separate tokens. So what you can do is you can customize Spacy here by doing this. You can say from Spacy.symbols import auth, and then you can say NLP.tokenizer. We have the NLP object, and you can say add spatial. So I'm adding a spatial case, okay, where I want to customize give me into what? So I want to use auth gim. So you want to customize this to give and me, correct? So this, don't worry about syntax too much. Maybe we'll look into auth and other symbols we have available in later. But this is a simple way of customizing Spacy's behavior, where I'm saying whenever I ask you to tokenize give me, just give me two tokens instead of just one give me token. Okay, and then I'll create a doc element and I'll do this same thing. When I hit enter, what it is saying is spatial cases are not allowed to modify the text. So you can't do give me, you can't do give and me. But what you can do is you can do give me. So it's like give and me. So you can't modify the actual word. You can split it. Okay, and if you want to modify, we have further processing steps. Tokenization is kind of a little dumb. It just splits the whole thing into segments. You don't want to change the actual text. That's not allowed. So when I do this, now see, I get gim and me as two different tokens. All right. So that was about adding a spatial rule in tokenizer. Now let's do sentence tokenization. This is something we have looked into it before also, so I will not spend too much time. And here I have two sentences. Hulk and Strange both are loving India trip, enjoying the food. To tokenize this into sentences, you can say for sentence in doc.send. Sends is sentence. Isn't that obvious? This is not working. What is the error? Let's read. So it is saying my NLP pipeline is kind of blank. That's what this error means. It's not saying that. So if you do nlp.pipe names, that pipeline is blank. And what does that pipeline means? So what I can do is here I can add nlp dot add pipe, because that's what it is asking me to do, and I'm adding a sentence sizer into it. And when I do that, see my pipe names, remember it was empty. Now my pipeline has this sentence sizer component. So what I did essentially is this. If I can open my presentation, blank pipeline is like this. You only get tokenizer, you don't get any other component. But when you build a pipeline, see this second part, this whole thing is called pipeline, and it has different component. We will look into it later, like tagger, parser, name entity recognizer. We'll see all those details. But the simple idea you want to learn today is you have a blank pipeline when you do this, but when you do something like spacy.load, you get full-fledged pipeline where you can have these components. And if you have a blank pipeline, you can add a component in the pipeline manually. And that's what we did. When we did spacy.add pipe, here after tokenizer component, we added a component for sentence sizer, which means now this NLP object knows how to split the sentence into, how to split paragraph into sentences. And when you do that, see, it is doing all this. And it's kind of little strange because the component that I added is little dumb, and it is splitting. See, after dr, when it says dot, it is splitting that into it is thinking it's a separate sentence. So it still doesn't understand English language fully. And we'll see in the next video probably that when we use pipeline like this, it will fix all those issues. So we'll look into those later in the future chapter, in the future video. Okay, so that's all I have for the tokenizer. Now it's the most interesting part of this tutorial, which is an exercise. Yes, it's like swimming. If you watch a swimming video, you're not going to learn swimming. You want to make a career in NLP. You want to earn big money. By the way, NLP engineers make a lot of money. Okay, if you want to achieve heights in your career success, you have to work hard. For that reason, I'm giving you this exercise where you might know about this Think Stats book. So this is a nice book, free book for learning statistics, and a paragraph of this book is this. I just took some paragraph from that book, okay? That contains couple of URLs for free dataset websites. See, free dataset website is something that you need as an NLP engineer working for a company. So I want you to write a code here that can process this text paragraph and grab all these data URLs. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the second exercise is you have to extract all the transaction money, which is the answer will be $2 and 500 euro. So the answer of this would be $200 and 500 euro. And you have to, write some code to extract that. This exercise will require little thinking. I have a solution here, and it is very tempting to click on the solution, but I know you all are brilliant, not brilliant, but sincere students. So I'm pretty sure you will not click on this solution link. you will work on it on your own. And if you click on it before without trying it, look, I have a magic embedded here. So when you apply for NLP engineer job, you will probably not get an interview call if you don't work on the solution diligently. All right. So I wish you all the best. The link of this notebook, the exercise, everything is in a video description below. So make sure you check out the video description. If you like this video, share it with your friends, give it a thumbs up. If you give a thumbs up, you're paying fees of this session. Okay. So if you want to pay back, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends on LinkedIn, especially, or WhatsApp, whatever. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you.